Officer Henry Marelli and his two sons were policemen in Newark, New Jersey. Newark is a large and very busy city. The younger son Bob shared his father's love of horses and started riding when he was 5 years old. My dad had been a Marine, he says. He put me in the saddle and said, "Sit straight or you are getting off." From that moment, Lieutenant Bob Marelli became devoted to horses and discipline, doing things the proper way, which should be very important during his career as a policeman. Lieutenant Marelli joined the police force when he was 21. At first, he worked in the patrol car and motorcycle unit. Later, he was asked to join the mounted police. The officers ride on horseback. Over time, he reached the rank of lieutenant and became the head of the department. Police horses have many jobs, but their two most important responsibilities are street patrol and crowd patrol. When they are on the street, officers ride their horses up and down the city streets, keeping an eye out for any crimes. When they are on crowd control, usually special events when many people gather together, the mounted police are there to make sure no fights break out and everyone stays safe. Dangerous demolitions can happen at any time, so police horses must be smart, well-trained, and brave. It is also important for an officer and his horse to work well together as a team. At one time, there were 18 horses in the Newark Mounted Unit. Lieutenant Marelli was responsible for choosing and training them. In 2000, he needed a horse for himself. Then a 6-year-old thoroughbred joined the force. He was bay, a dark brown with a white blaze on his face and white on 3 of his lower legs. Lieutenant Marelli named him Lieutenant and called him Lieu for short. Lieu was a high-spirited young horse. Lieutenant Marelli started training him in the indoor ring to practice the different gaits, the speed that a horse moves in. Horses walk, trot, and canter on a lunge line, which looks like a long dog leash. Trotting is almost like human jogging. Cantering is faster than trotting but slower than galloping. In time, Lieutenant Marelli began riding Lieu so he would understand commands given from the officer's legs and reins, which connected to 2 beads in Lieu's mouth. A bead is a tiny bar that sits between the horse's upper and lower teeth. Lieutenant Marelli's officer used 2 beads for extra control. Next, they worked in the outside ring and then went out on the streets so Lieu would get used to the sights and sounds of the city. He was jumpy at first. Everything caught his attention. So they started out slowly, first walking up and down a quiet street. Then they walked a half a block, and next around a full block. After about 6 months, Lieu settled down and understood his job. For the next 11 years, Lieutenant Marelli and Lieu patrolled the streets of Newark, doing special details patrols that are out of the ordinary and required all the horses. Lieu was always the point horse or head horse, leading in front of the others. He knew his position and liked it. Lieutenant Marelli and Lieu were also involved in many dangerous situations. Once they were called to help out during a house fire. After the fire trucks arrive, it is the mounted police officer's duty to control traffic, shut down the streets, and keep people away from the fire. Liu was frightened by the flames but stood still as he had been trained. Another time during a festival when the crowd went out of control, a chair was thrown and hit Liu in the neck. Again he stayed calm. He always seemed to understand he had to be good to keep Lieutenant Morelli safe and allow him to do his job. The two formed a very close bond. When Lieutenant Morelli retired from the police force in 2010, after 45 years of service, Liu retired with him. "I love that horse," the lieutenant says. "He is like a son to me."